Welcome to Healing Through Dentistry podcast,
where we redefine health, wellness, and the power of your smile.
We're your hosts,
Hanna
and Eva, twin sisters, qualified dentists and medical doctors.
This is more than a dental podcast.
It's a journey into profound connection between oral health and whole body healing.
Through personal stories, inspiring client transformations, and expert insights,
we explore how dentistry can ignite energy, relieve chronic pain, and transform lives.
Get ready to discover the extraordinary ways your smile can heal, inside and out.
Let's begin. Hello everybody, welcome to the next episode. I'm super excited because today we're going to talk about Dr. Joe Dispenza.
We have mentioned him in a previous episodes and you were quite excited to know our experience with him. So we decided to record a solo episode about Joe Dispenza, but it's more about our story, how we found out about him, how he helped us, what stories we experienced through him. Now, talking about that, it's going to be probably for 3 hours, but let's just keep it shorter and we can always have more, because it is true that we have so many beautiful healing stories, not only our very own ones, but also what we've seen while doing retreats with him.
Amazing. So how did we find him? And I always ask when we come to retreats, I love this question. How did you find out about him? How did you find him? Because that's fascinating. It's something, and the information he gives you is something which changes your life. It transforms your life for good. It changes everything. So for me, I noticed him. We have moved back to the Czech Republic after 6 years in the UK, working there as a dentist. And
when was that? 2017?
2016, the end of the year. And we had to basically be a little bit more online, which we haven't been online before. We have been looking.
You meaning online, meaning on social media?
On social media, you were creating websites. We did come to a city where we were not born. We did not have any clients. We were taking over a clinic, which was actually just a space. So we were creating websites and somebody came up, which was Joe Dispenza. And it was fascinating because it was, I would believe, one of the first ones that I saw him was when he was talking about fluoride.
That's not a coincidence, right, Eva?
Which is a synchronicity in his words. So he was talking about fluoride and how fluoride is calcifying in pineal gland, and how the pineal gland, if you have a look around, you can see in many cultures, they refer to pineal gland to a third eye, but you see it on the Pope's hole. You can see it in many other cultures. The pine cone, if you focus on pine cone, you will find it as a symbol in every culture. So I have listened to him and I was like, this is impressive. He knows about fluoride. This is amazing. Also, he was talking about frequencies, alpha and theta. And we started using in our clinic Newcomb therapy, which is a frequency therapy combining alpha theta waves. And we noticed that Tony Robbins was using it too. So we were like, we loved it. We were like, Tony Robbins is using this technology. I love that.
And Joe Dispenza's teaching about that.
Yes.
We must be on something.
He was for a long time a hero to me, very inspirational. He is a chiropractor. His personal story is that he broke his spine, his vertebra, when he was doing triathlon. Another thing I love about him, he's a sportsman. So he was doing triathlon. He was a chiropractor and he broke his vertebra that bad that they told him he's not going to walk anymore. I think he had 6 vertebrae broken and he
needed an operation, right?
Needed an operation, but something within him said, like, if the body could be born and if, I'm sure, or I believe it could heal as well. That power is within.
He was believing there's an innate intelligence in our body who can, make us healthy as in we are healthy, but also if we are diseased, that can be reversed. So he was believing in this, and so he opted out of hospital, even though, all his friends and family was very shocked and like obviously telling him, no, you got to go for the operation. He said, no, that is my body, and I believe, it's gonna heal on its own. And so he kept himself a promise, and he really opted out of the hospital, and he shut himself in a room and started to quote unquote play with theories he's always had, and that was meditation, that was yoga practices, that was deep science, neurology, neuroanatomy, neuroimmunology, neuro everything.
And he told himself, if I can heal, I would promise that I would study, I would do the science, I would dedicate my life for research. And he said it was hard, the beginnings, he was imagining how the spine and how the vertebrae is healing. He just had it in his side envisioned, and he started seeing little signs of improvement. And within few weeks, he was standing, walking, and he just did what he said. He started doing research.
I think he said he was back on his bike.
Yeah, in 6 weeks?
No, in 3 months. I think in 3 months. You can look it up. I think it was 3 months, which is incredible considering they told him you're never going to walk. You're going to be paralyzed. He was back on his bicycle, because this was like an accident when the car hit him when he was doing the triathlon, like Eva said. But even this, like a lot of us would be, oh, I'm just going to be scared to even go around, like close to my bicycle because of this trauma. But he healed that as well. And like Eva said, like he promised himself and others or someone,
beyond us,
that he's going to commit a life to,
this work.
To this work. And so he did.
Neuroimmunology, everything connected to neuroanatomy, neuromodality,
and deep information on quantum physics. It is all about actually quantum physics. And I like him very much because he has this gift and ability to explain the quantum physics and neuroscience in, simple words to understand to everyone. It doesn't really matter if you're a doctor, if you're a teacher, if you're anyone. He has got a gift to
has a gift to translate the information, and he has a gift to feel the audience and explain more if it's needed. And I love that he's bridging the science, which is like, I would love all medical students to have 1.5 hour lecture from him, recorded of course, but I would love all of the world to have the information, which is basically 1.5 hours. If you go to his retreat, you have a full week, but he's lecturing, but one specifically 1.5 hours only anatomy, and it just makes sense. It's beautiful. It's simple. It's logic. And I love that he's bridging this high medicine with quantum physics, which is for me, being out there for 3 years now, I understand more and more. But at the beginning, I didn't need to know more or know much about quantum physics, but he has a gift to also explain quantum physics to very well, that you would understand later on what's going on.
And fast forward, he's been doing this research and this work for 40 years now, right? I think he was in early 20s when the accident happened, and now he's in his 60s. And he is changing the world. Like, he's teaching all of us that there is innate intelligence and we can heal from whatever you can imagine, be it a trauma, abuse, be it a cancer, be it a so-called not curable autoimmune disease or not curable neurodegenerative disease. We've seen it all. We've seen a gentleman from Scandinavia. I remember our first retreat in London.
He had Parkinson's disease.
And he no longer suffers by Parkinson's disease. And it was just so obvious that he was healed there on the spot. Yeah, but how did we get to the retreat? Because that was not even in our awareness. Joe Dispenza is a guy who's got heritage in Italy, but he lives and grew up in States. So we thought, oh, that's probably not going to be possible for us. to see him live. But then we found out.
In one day he was coming to London. It was after COVID, and we were like, oh wow, he's coming to London. We have to sign in. And the process for all the audience is very fast. So you would sign into Encephalon newsletter. They would send you a date, the date, specifically the time. You have to log in and sign into the retreat, because the retreats, which are usually for 2,000, 2,500 people, they are sold out in 2 minutes. So basically, you are meant to be there or not. So we did sign in. It was London
We made it.
2022 summer. We came in, and we were not experienced meditators. We have done one course with
Emily Fletcher?
Yeah, Emily Fletcher, which was amazing, beautiful. But we didn't know much about Joe Dispenza meditation. So we were inexperienced. We were taking everything in. We were just experiencing what's happening around us. And it was life transforming in a way that you cannot go back if you know what you know now. And if you know that the meditation is that powerful, you're not able to skip a day of meditation.
And maybe if just to jump forward and to say in one sentence what's going on and what are you actually doing, is you are regulating your nervous system. So you are regulating your nervous system. The time we're all living in, it's all stress, running in between places. We're very lucky to be able to travel the world, to have companies, to have kids and pets and, travel there and there. We are, connected by our phone, so we can just do million things at one time. And that's what is not great for our immune system and nervous system. So
basically the immune system is dependent on neural system. So if you are not able to heal, if the neural system is in a state of fear, flight and fight, in sympatheticus, and I remember my story is that I don't think I was looking for Joe Dispenza for health benefits, but I know now that I was. I know that I was looking for health benefit because I was in flight and fight mode. Even I wouldn't know about it, because I know that time I did not have any dreams at all, any dreams. And it's all connected with your frequency of your brain waves. So fascinating. So as you said, Hanna, beautifully, it's about calming the neural system, because then the body has the ability to heal. And then the immunity can start working. All the beautiful things which are happening in our body. That much that you can heal from 4-stage cancer, you can heal from autoimmune disease, you can start walking after 15 years, you can heal anything. The power is there.
Yeah, I remember the Indian guy I always describe, and I remember who had this neurodegenerative disease.
ALS.
Yes. ALS, and he was talking about how, like his parents was keeping this a secret from him, because he was diagnosed when he was, 9 years old. But anyway, so he was walking for the very first time after 20 years.
In London.
We saw it, and it was just so amazing seeing him so happy, moving with his hands, walking little steps, standing up from the wheelchair. And, once he kind of tried this, and the joy and everything, he kept improving and improving and improving. Mm-hmm. So it is very, very touching. The amount of love you feel over on the retreats are undescribable.
Yes. And plus, Dr. Joe Dispenza teaching is placing you into your heart, into your feelings. And that's also my story, because I wasn't feeling my heart. I placed my hand on my chest and I didn't feel the heartbeat. So he is beautiful, and the work is beautiful in the way that he's connecting the heart-brain coherence, which is basically how the frequency needs to be in order for the things to be happening, even in health, but even in anything you want in your life. So for me, the first 7 days in London were transforming in a huge way, just getting back to me, And also we have met such a beautiful community. We met a beautiful guy the very last day before we got into the taxi, which was, the plate was love. That it was written there, love. Another synchronicity. And the last guy we have met on this retreat, just having a coffee at the end of the retreat, was a guy who was healed because of that his amalgam fillings has been removed by a biological dentist in UK. So that was beautiful. And then the first time I started crying so hard, because it's just, I realized that everything makes sense in a huge way. And I loved that he is now in a part of my story, because it's transformational.
What was his issues, Eva? I remember he was depressed. He was...
Yeah, but even physically, he is such a young guy, our age, in his 40s. He's starting having issues as depression but
anxiety.
Even physically, he started deteriorating in health, and he wasn't understanding why. He's a teacher of young children, and he's super nice, super beautiful soul, but he was losing his health and his mind. And his amalgam fillings were removed by a biological dentist in UK, and he changed his life. So he just, I don't know, they were talking at the table about dental topics, and I went to a restroom, and they just stopped me and they said what they're talking about. And I was like, okay, yes, clear, yes, that's right. And then I told them that I'm a biological dentist, and he just hugged me so, and the energy we extended was so beautiful that he really got me really crying a lot with joy and gratefulness. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, and it's good to say that it is very important to balance your nervous system. It is very important to have what he calls heart-brain coherence, but also it is important to know that we can free the body from toxicity, even physically, and that's probably why you needed to meet this guy who was giving you a sign that it actually,
it's a part of the journey. So you need to remove the toxins, the chemicals. And Joe Dispenza, he divides them into toxin and chemicals that they're emotional. So there might be somebody around you who is toxic, but it could be something in you which is toxic, which is for us in our dental world, the metals and amalgam fillings.
Yeah, so emotions got very many levels, and one of it is actual chemical, but the other thing is the emotions you're talking about, and we don't necessarily need to remember them. That brings me another story, a powerful man who became our friend as well from Germany, who had this scary story, what happened to him, and he wasn't even aware of it. And what he started to talk about is that he wasn't able on stage to eat at all. He was only eating for 9 months like rice and banana, because everything else was making him to be sick or vomit, cramps, and he didn't know what was happening with him. He had a little child. It had obviously influence on his marriage, on the relationship with his wife, with his kid. And he started to searching for an answers. That's what I think all of the people there we have met, or we all have in common, that we're not happy with the results we have right now, and with maybe even answers, responses from your authorities, doctors, who says, no, it's not possible. And I appreciate about these people that they always know, I don't take no for an answer. Let's search for some, answers on my own. And they search and they go on their journey, which is not easy. And it is very scary at times, but it's worth it, because what we have found out, and he found out later that he was, and actually another connection with a dentist, because there was this dentist in Germany, he was using ketamines, and he has had what I call the sixth sense. He was seeing things most people don't see. And so after the ketamine, he was telling to our friend, go and see your parents and ask them what happened to you at the age of 2 and 4. And so he did. And he did find out what he probably didn't want to know, but he needed to know, that he was abused as a small child. And this has affected his stomach, his intestines.
Well, the neurosystem,
and the
basically.
neurosystem.
The body is showing you in a way 35 years later. And this is fascinating again, because he was looking for answer. And I love this communicator, because they are searching. They put their health into their hands and they're searching where they can find the answers. And he found a biological dentist, and he told him he has a cavitations. So he was for the surgery, ketamine. They were using ketamine also, but he was removing the cavitations, which is like a cavern of
chronic inflammation,
which is attracted by bacteria, viruses, fungi, and heavy toxin metals. So he had these areas removed. And at the same time, he has this ketamine experience, and then he undergone also ketamine treatment for 6 weeks.
Yeah, but what happened, all of this in combination was helping him to release the unconscious traumas
anger he had.
And anger, he was, screaming a lot. He was releasing a lot of emotions. But that's what brought him into a different space in terms of he lost about 30 kilos. He gained his, son back in a sense. He's got a really nice relationship with him now. He started to eat again. He started to run successfully his business. And basically, it's just turned his life upside down in a good way. And if I imagine he would never ever started to work on himself, what would happen? I don't want to think about it. So that's how powerful it is. And maybe let's just say one more story with dental story, maybe my even story.
Okay, yes, because this is all happening the first event. And that's how the universe is bringing us the stories.
So I want to talk about something what didn't happen to me in London, but happened to me in Vienna. And we came back for a retreat, 7-day retreat, because it was to do with my teeth. I used to wear braces. And before the retreat, I saw my orthodontist, and she was kind of not really happy about the bite. I couldn't bite on my back teeth.
How the teeth, upper jaw and lower jaw meet.
Yeah, she wasn't happy.
What anyway,
she adjusted my aligners, but she said, well, let's see what happens. But what was interesting, in one of the meditations we did, Joe Dispenza, he's big on two things, teachings and the work. Teachings is about 1/3 of the time. I think it's I'm not sure about the hours, but it'd be 35 hours teaching and 65 hours of meditation in a week. Maybe I'm mixing it up. Don't take me for the word.
I think it's 35 hours meditation, and in between something is the teaching.
But the key...
And some sleep a little bit.
And some sleep. But why I am saying it is that it is really important for anything what we do in our lives to be educated. You need to know why you do certain stuff, right? So that's what I like about Joe Dispenza. He lectures first and then we do the work. In one of the meditation, what happened to me, I was almost kind of pulled up. I thought
by the energy.
I thought I'm being lifted up from the ground, but my spine was kind of twisting towards left and right. I can't remember where, but it was twisting to that point that I thought it is not possible anymore. And also what happened, the forces or the energy made open my jaws really wide. So I was there, in a weird position. My mouth was wide open. And I knew someone was working on my jaws and on my teeth. And, after the meditation, I was just oh my goodness, that was definitely something was working on my teeth, I'm sure. And a week after we arrived, I knew that the bite was much better or was good, because I bite my upper and lower jaw actually fitted for after a long time. But also then we talk about my story with another friend we met, and he said how he was
worked on a wisdom teeth.
On a wisdom teeth as well. So we have met so many people who started to talk about this dentistry, and didn't even know we're dentists.
No, it's fascinating, and that's the synchronicities that we don't say that we're dentists, biological dentists. The stories and the people are coming to us, telling us their personal stories, and then we're like in awe because that's dental stories. So we're collecting all the stories in. It's beautiful. And I believe that if you pick the book, any book from Dr. Joe Dispenza, or if you start with a short meditation, which is Go Love, Go Love, Go Love, which is 15 minutes, you will change your life.
Yeah, I definitely recommend any book. Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself is great, or The Placebo. And maybe even more, I do recommend to see his new documentary, which is called The Source, because, we all love movies, and this is a documentary based on his work, teachings, and his retreats. So you get to experience the powerful stories, healing stories of participants of the retreats. And, they are explaining you the behind the scene and the data. It's all scientific. I admire him because he put everything in data, in research. We are part of his big research. He was testing, from our tears to our mimics, to our microbiome, to our blood, to our
face expression, then electrodes and EEG. He is out there for 40 years, and every 6 months he is evolving. I admire him so much. He is
every time we see him, not every 6 months.
Inspiration. Even I get emotional right now because he is just a hero, and I believe everyone is deserving to know his name, know his teachings, and we would love to bring more information to you guys. So I'm sure we will be talking about Dr. Joe Dispenza again in some of the next episodes. We may also connect with our friends or people who went through some huge transformation. So we will try to bring you these stories also.
Just wanted to add, because we only covered few stories, we haven't even shared all the stories, and we've got so many. So I'm sure that's going to be another episode. So cheers to Dr. Joe, and
yes,
let's all meditate and balance our nervous system, because that's the key. Okay, take care and see you in the next episode.
Thank you for joining us on Healing Through Dentistry podcast. We hope today's conversation has inspired you to see your smile as the gateway to whole body well-being.
To stay connected, visit us on our website or follow us on social media.
If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who could benefit.
Until next time, remember, healing starts with a smile.
Take care,
and we will see you in the next episode.